What's up, guys? It's your boy EWLE, aka Culture. Back out here with another video. And today, I plan on doing a New Day video, right? Booking the New Day up until, the end of the New Day. And it was going to start with, this year going good for them and them winning it all. I want them to go on and, at Night of Champions, they face off against Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins for the unification match. Or even sometime earlier next year, that would work too. Um, them hold the belts for the longest time, so it's not a unified belt, but they're just unified champions, right? And then uh towards Rumble, I think Rumble would be a nice place to start. At Rumble, they lose both belts. They have two different matches. They have one at the beginning of the night, and they have the co-main event match towards the end, and they lose both matches, and they drop both titles. And I think you have Xavier Woods take the pin on both of them, on both the matches, right? Okay, and it goes from there, and uh you have Xavier Woods ask, be like, Kofi, you're taking the blame, even though Kofi's kind of blaming him for losing the match. Like, Kofi, you're putting all the blame on me. You know what I'm saying? You were in that match too. You didn't help. And then Kofi's like, yeah, but I didn't take the pin. Maybe we should have kept Big E around. Xavier's like, nah, he's dead weight, this and that. Builds up a match, right? As soon as that hype ends, right? Matter of fact, I think you have Xavier attack Kofi after the match, even though he took the pin. You have Xavier attack Kofi after the match. You know, all right. And I want this to go on not now, but next year. Or really, it could be any year. Matter of fact, nah, let's keep it this year. This year, okay? So, Rumble, they lose both titles after the match. Xavier then attacks Kofi after the match. I guess for not helping him get out of the pin, so he let him get pinned or whatever. Which he didn't really let him, but in Xavier's mind he did. You have oh Lord, just dropped my controller. You have all that going on. In the midst of all this, you have Big E come back. You have Big E come back, and you have Big E say he talked to Adam Pearce, and he is willing to give both of them a match at Elimination Chamber. Okay, they're okay with it. You know, maybe a couple more weeks to build, even the same night. Be like, oh, and Adam Pearce said I can have the honors of choosing a special guest referee. So it's my choice. Who could I possibly pick? Who? You got the who, whatever, right? Boom. Big E says this himself, right? So he books the special guest referee. During the match, you have Xavier Woods get mad at a count, whatever. And you have him attack Big E. And you have Kofi, even though Kofi's the face, low blow Xavier Woods. Big E sees it. He's shocked. He's like, what should I do? Xavier was just attacking me. My friend just got him off me, but that's wrong. Him and Kofi just have a stare down for a minute. Trouble in Paradise. Kofi wins the match. Next week, Xavier's mad. Xavier's mad. He's wanting to have another match, but this time he doesn't just want to take Kofi out. He wants to retire Big E. They have a triple threat match at Mania, and in this triple threat match, I think you have Big E win. I think you have Big E come out on top, right? This will be his retirement match. Be honest with you, this will be his retirement match. And all this and all that, you feel me? Because Big E, they're saying, Big E might only have, not be able to wrestle anymore. I think you need to have him with a proper send off, you feel me? And this could be his retirement match, right? After this retirement match, Kofi goes on a singles run where he's on the same thing as Jey Uso. He's happy. He's not gonna have the yeet catchphrase, of course, but what I'm saying. Like he's the smiley baby face that everybody loves. Everybody sings along to the song, whatever. And give him the SOS theme song back if you want. I don't really care. You have him go to Raw. You have Biggie retire, be commentator. He can come out retirement anytime. We already know how that is with Undertaker. Uh, But you have, him come out, he can be commentator, backstage interviewer, what he's doing now for the kickoff shows, anything that he wants to be. You feel me? Because Big E has been nothing but nice to the WWE and what they have going on, right? Their relationship. Then boom, you have Xavier go to NXT, all right, and you have Xavier Woods going a heel run in NXT all the way leading up until he wins the North American champion or the NXT champion, right? And you build him up as this heel, this Miz like heel. He'll do whatever it takes to win, and then you call him back up to main roster in like the draft or whatever. And then I think once you call him back up to main roster for the draft, you still have Kofi as champion of whatever champion. You can have him as IC champion, United States champion, whatever. United States or Intercontinental champion would be on Raw. So if you want to keep Kofi on Raw, then do that. But you draft them to the same brand, and you do that, and then you have them feud for that title. Well, then I think you think that's when I think you take Kofi's belt off of him and put it on Xavier, and then from there you can kind of go into different storylines or whatever. But that's what I think you do, right? And I think that would be an awesome storyline. Plays out. I want the New Day to win one more title. This way, they're winning another title, but they're not unifying it, right? They're having two different matches. They're still splitting the tag belts up, right? They still finna have their final match with Big E. Kofi comes out as face. Xavier Woods goes to NXT as a heel. Only reason I'm saying Xavier goes to NXT as a heel because I feel like if you keep him on Raw or SmackDown and he's not a champion, you're not utilizing him enough. You're not going to give him that much screen time, and if you do, he's probably going to turn into a jobber. And I don't want that. Send him back to NXT. Send him back to NXT. Let him do some heel work there. Win the champion down there. It doesn't have to be for long. Just have him go on this semi-dominant run where he's like the Miz. He'll do whatever it takes to win. Poke you in the eyes. Low blow him. You feel me? Brass knuckles, roll ups, low blows. You feel me? He's the king of roll ups, so roll up, whatever. But boom, while I was making that video, right, something dawned on me. I was like, you know what? Instead of making a New Day video for right now, I want to make something different. I know I just told y'all the entire plot line to the New Day video in probably like 7 minutes ish. I don't know how long it took me to make that. To tell y'all that little story or whatever. But you or me, I should say, I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I do want to make Wyatt 6 video. Okay, the Wyatt 6 just returned on Bray Wyatt's birthday. Beautiful return, but I'm just sitting here. I'm thinking, I'm like, damn man, what is the Wyatt 6 going to do? They're a faction that doesn't really need a tag team to run wild, or doesn't need a champion to run wild. But at the same time, I can't sit here and just let them do nothing. You know, this is what I think happened. This goes on a little bit in the future. Champions stay the exact same, and I want you to put that in perspective. Alexa Bliss wins the Money in the Bank contract. Okay, she goes in, she cashes in on a match with Charlotte Flair and Io Sky. Alexa Bliss wins that match. A little bit after she wins that match, you have the feud between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, where you have Alexa Bliss win and seemingly overcome the demons in the Wyatt Six. And she goes back to not being her little tween character between, 5 Feet of Fury and Little Miss Bliss and the little dark character. I don't like this little character that Alexa has going on now. It's confusing me. I'm willing to see where WWE is going to go with this, but as of right now, it doesn't seem like a good storyline to me. I want her to go back to Little Miss Fury, 5 Feet of Fury, you know, Little Miss Bliss, all that, right? Go back to that old gimmick in 2018, 2019, where she had won the championship. She was just absolutely obnoxious, hard to stand. You know what I'm saying? I loved that gimmick as a kid, even though I hated the heels when I was a kid. I loved that gimmick, and just looking back on it now, I love that even more. I think she could have been, if she stuck to that gimmick, not saying what she did with Bray Wyatt was bad, but if she just stuck to that gimmick a little bit longer, I feel like she could have, been one of my favorites all time, like top 3 favorites. So for women's wrestlers, not all time. No offense, I'm not trying to categorize or anything, but Alexa Bliss is already in my top whatever favorites, but she's not really in my top three favorite women's wrestlers of all time, if that makes sense. But you have her, you have both of them feud for the championship. It can go on for a long time, and I'm okay with it going on for a long time. This is kind of the point. While this is also going on, you have Dexter Loomis and what's his name, Joe Gacy, challenge the New Day. So the story about the Wyatt Six is they people that have turned their back on their family and stuff. Alexa Bliss kind of turned her back on the Fiend at WrestleMania 36, 37, 37, 36, 36 or 37. Whichever one it was. Can't really remember. 36 or 37. No, I think it was 36. Matter of fact, hold up a second. I think I can get to the bottom of this. WrestleMania 36 was this one. So WrestleMania 37. Okay. Why do we not have a WrestleMania 37? Uh, it goes to 38. I don't. Okay. Well, let me go. I'm gonna go download it then because I want the thing. Anyways, uh, WrestleMania 37, right? And she turned her back on the Fiend, which was her family or whatever. She turned her back on Braun Strowman at one point to get not to get with the Fiend. I don't want to make it sound like that, but like to what's it called? To be part of the Fiend's family. She turned back on the Fiend as well. She turned her back. Okay, you know, either way, she turned her back, right? So boom, she turned her back on her family both times, or somebody that was supposed to be her family both times, right? Cool, whatever, I guess, right? Do I have this downloaded? Point is, that's why Nikki Cross is going after him. You have Uncle Howdy talk for Nikki Cross the whole time. Okay, good. You have Nikki Cross not even talk. I think you have nobody talk but Uncle Howdy. And in promos, of course. I don't think you really have him talk on the mic that much. I mean, you can have nothing wrong with that, or I have no problem with that. But I don't really think he needs to talk on the mic or anything like that, right? So boom, you have all this going on. In the midst of this, Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis go after the New Day. They turn their back on Big E. It writes itself. They're kind of like Russo's like the Redeemer, right? They're kind of redeeming somebody's past wrongs, or they're trying to right the past wrongs. You turn your back on your family. We're all about family, all right? So you're getting punished for this. You feel me? You call them the Punishers or some shit. I don't fucking know. Point is, you have them go after the titles. Do I think that you should make them win? I don't know, but it goes back to the other thing of you have New Day drop both the titles at Royal Rumble. I feel like you can make something happen there where one of the titles that they drop, the Raw Tag Team titles, you have them drop to the Wyatt Six, and then the SmackDown titles you have them drop to like Motor City Machine Guns or Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, right? Something like that. Whatever about any of those teams, or it could even be uh, wait, yeah, or it can even be uh, 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 or it can even be or it can even be Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. But sorry, the reason why I just kept stuttering for a second, I just thought about something. Are the Wyatt Six on Raw or SmackDown? To be honest with you, man, like I've seen them on Raw when they first debuted. They were on Raw. There was never a draft, and then somehow I just saw him on SmackDown for Bray Wyatt's birthday. I'm not sure if that was a one-on-one appearance or a one-time appearance, one-off appearance. And if it is, I'm okay with that. I'm not mad about it at all. I was just confused. I'm just sitting here thinking, but I'm like, the more I think, it's just like, I don't, that doesn't make any sense to me. But we're gonna let that go. Or for the sake of the video, we're saying they're all superstars. All right. So boom, you have them win it at Rumble, which is cool. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to do this storyline as of right now. You want Money in the Bank to happen. You want a little bit of time to go on. I want EO to stay champion for a little bit longer before you have the cash in and all that, right? So as all this is going on, you have uh, Eric Rowan go after Dominic Mysterio. Should he win? Yes. Yes. No? Maybe. I don't know. I don't. No. No. Yes. I don't know. See, I don't want to have Nikki Cross not win and then have somebody else win, but like if Alexa Bliss just wins the title and then it goes directly to Nikki Cross after that, I don't know. But I do like seeing Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis as the tag champions, and then possibly the only champions. But Eric Rowan, Eric Redbeard, whatever he's called right now, I don't think he should be a I don't think he should be a champion as of right now, right? No offense to him at all. How do you spell WrestleMania? Shit. I don't think he should be a champion, right? So I think you have him lose Dominic Mysterio, that whole feud he loses, right? Um, and I think you kind of segue that into a Finn Balor Dominic feud. You feel me? For Mania, I wouldn't have any problem with that. I need to please don't delete, and it did. Okay, love it. Um, then I think you have him going on because he, of course, you know, went against his dad's wishes, his family, right? Judgment Day, I'm not gonna say they kicked him out the group at this point, but they kind of hate him. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of getting exiled from Judgment Day as of right now, right? So they're trying to teach him a lesson, right? And then you have Uncle Howdy go after Jey Uso. Now listen. Do I think it's gonna be a 5-star banger match? No. Am I saying that just because so many people hate on Jey Uso's in-ring abilities? Yes. I love Jey Uso's in-ring abilities, and we haven't really gotten much from Uncle Howdy just to really see, like any long matches, just to see like what he can really do for real. But I would be very interested to see you know, happy Jey Uso try to put his demons behind him, you know, when it comes to that. You could do something similar to a Firefly Funhouse match when it comes to that. I'm not saying you want to replicate that at all, but I'm just saying you can do something very similar to that where you try to have him go, in his old, mindset of, it's just me, Oos. That's literally his theme song. It's just me, Oos. Day one is he's like forgetting his brother. He's forgetting his cousin Roman Reigns. He's forgetting all the people that helped him be who he is today. Main event Jey Uso, who gave him that nickname? Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying? What did it take for him to beat Gunther? It took his own twin brother getting beat by Gunther for him to finally realize, hey, I'm going to do this. So this is Uncle Howdy paying the respects back. You forgot your family at one point, and it seems like you really haven't made everything all right with them. This and that. The story writes itself. And what I love about the tag team, the reason why I just said, you know, this and that, because right now the tag team division or the division championship division is so stacked. You know what I'm saying? It's so stacked. I don't think you have Uncle Howdy win. I think overall you have, Uncle Howdy and Jey Uso, have a match at, let's say, Rumble. Let's say the Rumble is just full of the Wyatt Six twin, and I'm definitely okay with that, right? The Rumble is just full of Wyatt Six matches, right? And you have um you have all these matches, right? And you have Uncle Howdy versus Jey Uso, and I think the end result is Jey Uso beats Uncle Howdy, right? Due to interference by Jimmy. Okay? Okay? Stay with me. Uncle Howdy and Jimmy are fighting each other, and Jimmy or Jay accidentally takes out the referee. Okay, let's say he takes out the referee. You then see Uncle Howdy put him in a. I don't think Uncle Howdy really does the mandible claw, but he could, I guess. So if you want to, you have that. But shit, I gotta go download the rest of it stuff. Anyways, if you want, you have that too. But you can put him in the mandible claw. All right. Let's matter of fact, let's just do WrestleMania. We don't have 40. Okay. Let's do 38 then. I'm cool with 38. All right. So boom, you have one-on-one match. Uncle Howdy. I'm not trying to simulate this at all either. I'm just trying to have fun while I'm talking to y'all. But um you have Uncle Howdy versus uh Jey Uso, and at one point the lights go out. The Wyatt Six are surrounding the ring, and you know the referee's probably down on some shit. I don't know. You can kind of tie this into it. Referee's down on some shit. The Wyatt Six surround the ring, and then all you hear all you hear is um, all you hear is um, I was born a king. The entrance music, right? Jimmy Uso doesn't come out. All right. So the Wyatt Six around the ring or whatever, and you have that whole thing going on, and nothing comes out of it. Then finally, you have Jay Uso, or you have Uncle Howdy, like kind of pause on this, get on his knees, all right, and do the little thing that he does where he's just like taunting, and he's telling, sorry, ear itches. He's telling Jay to hit him. He's like, Jay. He's like, hit me. Do it for Jimmy. Do it for Jimmy. This and that. Because the Wyatt Six took out Jimmy. Okay, so that's why he's not coming out. Wyatt Six took out Jimmy, right? And all this and all that. You have all this going down, okay? And then at the end of it, you finally have Jimmy, or you have Jay try to super kick Uncle Howdy. The lights come back on, or the lights. I'm sorry, the lights go out. let's start with that. Lights go out, and then you have Uncle Howdy. He has Jay Uso and Sister Abigail middle of the ring. The Wyatt Six they're out. I don't know where you put them at. Like, they just went backstage or wherever they're not in the arena anymore. Okay. So you have them go somewhere. They're out of the arena now, and now it's just Uncle Howdy middle of the ring with a Jay Uso in a bad predicament and a Sister Abigail position middle of the ring, and that's when Jimmy Uso comes out, and as he's walking around the ring, kind of just taunting, with Jay in the ring, he's kind of taunting him or whatever by just walking around with him in the Sister Abigail position. You have him turn around to Jimmy, super kicking him right in the mouth. Super kicking him out from Jimmy. Jay gets out of it. Super kicks in the mouth, or super kick in the mouth from Jay. Double super kick knocks him out. You have Jay go up to the top rope and hit the Uso splash. Referee gets back in the ring. Gets back in the ring. 1, 2, 3. And the hold up. We're gonna sit you back down. Whole thing is, right? They're like, okay, you redeemed yourself, this and that, right? But boom, that's basically it. The Wyatt Six tag team between the Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. That tag team goes on to win tag team matches. Maybe they lose and have a feud with somebody else. Uh, you know. Also, I like to see, uh, maybe a Dominic or maybe a Finn before they break up. Uh, you know, one of them has to be out. Either you kick Finn out or you kick Dom out, and then you have a Judgment Day versus Wyatt Six showdown where it's like. Um, Roxanne Perez versus, you know, Nikki Cross, Finn Balor versus, Uncle Howdy, Carlito and JD McDonough versus the Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, right, for the tag championships. And then you have, you would have Rowan versus Dominic, but except you won't do that then because one of them's will be kicked out because I think you have Liv and Dom get kicked out along with Raquel and this and that. But I think then you add another member, and I'm thinking somebody like a Karrion Kross, all right? I know Karrion Kross is like a lone wolf, and what's going to happen is he's going to kick Finn Balor out, eventually. Like, he's going to be the Finn Balor's right-hand man. Other people with Judgment Day aren't going to like that. They feel like they're getting moved down a slot, you feel me? Jay McDonough was the right-hand man now, and then Carlito was third in charge. And now they're getting moved down because of Karrion Kross. And Scarlett, somebody who doesn't even wrestle, right? So, boom, they all get mad. Karrion Kross takes out Finn Balor. Okay, this is just for future terms. But Karrion Kross versus Rowan, right? And you have that whole Wyatt Six versus Judgment Day feud go on. And then finally, at the end of it all, you have Karrion Kross turn on uh, the Judgment Day and leave them, like, let's say they have a 5-on-5 match. Karen Cross turns on the Judgment Day, leaving Finn Balor in the middle of the ring. Judgment Days fall apart. It's no longer the Judgment Day anymore, type of thing. You feel me? So yeah, boom. I think you have that. That's how you break up the Judgment Day. That's how you book the Wyatt Six for the upcoming year. You feel me? Going into Royal Rumble, and then you can have the whole Judgment Day thing go into Mania. That's how you book all that, and that's how you get Karrion Kross to be a star from taking out Finn Balor, who you could have feud with Dominic for the longest time during, for at Elimination Chamber, you have him feud with Dominic. He drops the belt to Dominic. Now Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor, Intercontinental Championship. You have Karrion Kross then beat Finn. Maybe you have that a little longer as a storyline because that only make Finn like champion for like 2 months, you know, 2 3 months. You might want to prolong that as long as possible. But either way, you still can. You feel me? And just do that. I feel like this would be a perfect storyline. It's a way to get the tag team division, involved. It's a way to get Jey Uso a new opponent. That's going to be something that he's never faced before. He's never went against a force like the Wyatt Six. He's never went against a darker force like that before. You know what I'm saying? And even when that's what I'm saying. Even when Bray Wyatt was around, I don't think that they even had a match. They definitely didn't have a one-on-one match. But even the Eater of Worlds match, like the Eater of Worlds with Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, I don't think they ever had a match. So this would be something that Jimmy Uso, or not Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso's never faced off against before. And then I think you have, you know, Jey drop his belt at WrestleMania, uh, and I think you have Jimmy Uso going this streak of making getting a mid card title, so getting the United States champion. Not now, but in the future, of course, or maybe the Intercontinental Championship. Not now, but in the future, of course. I'm just spitballing shit off the top of my head. Be honest with you, I can go to depth deeper, but I think you have Jimmy Uso go on a titles run and go after one of the mid card titles, or you know might not be the best idea. I know I brought up NXT before, but have him go after the NXT champion. Him, be mad that he couldn't secure the title against his brother at WrestleMania. Maybe they have Jimmy versus Jey 2.0 with their dad being a special guest referee, and it's a lot better than the first one, right? And it's a championship match. And you have him be mad at that. He goes down to NXT and just dominates down there the same way, you know, Xavier Woods could. You have to pick a storyline there. Would you rather Jim go or would you rather Xavier go? Either way, the payoff would be good. But I can't see Jimmy Uso staying in NXT for a long period of time. So that's why I say you made him go after a mid card title. You don't even have to have the whole Jey Uso feud go on. And then after they both drop both their belts or whatever, then you have them come back together as a tag team. I think that'd just be absolutely perfect. Uh, so yeah, and then with the Wyatt Six storyline, I hope that they change their, after Mania or whatever, they kind of change their perspective on things. They're not here to, teach, right the wrongs that people have done to their family. Instead, they're here to cause havoc or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's only too many people that's really just done wrong. You feel me? Hey, Uncle Howdy versus John Cena. I'll be here for it, twin. I'll be here for it, twin. But anyways, this long rant style video, of anything, about how I think the Wyatt Six should be booked for the remainder of this year, going up to past WrestleMania, or going into WrestleMania. If y'all like the video, like, comment, subscribe. See, comment if y'all like these videos. I usually make WWE, or not WWE, NBA 2K content. If y'all like these type style videos, then go ahead, drop a like. You feel me? Just to let me know that y'all mess with it. Comment, if you mess with it or not. I'm not gonna take any hard feelings towards it at all. But let me know. Let me know for sure. And it's been real. I'm out. Peace.